Hello, my name's Mike Kingley and I'm currently working on a scribus script, and I thought I'd demonstrate what I think might be potentially a bug in or a difference in operation that I'd expect from the user interface and the API. So I'm just going to adjust my microphone a little. So this is the script I'm working on. It's a club roster, so it's going to basically fill in player details for each member of the club. So if I run this script, we can see what happens. So I'm just going to press F9 here, and it's created a new entry. What it does is it finds the entity called player underscore player, this entity here, and it makes a copy of it and then renames that one to player 1, and then renames the one that created to be player, so you can move down the page. And at the end you may well have a underscore player object sitting around. Just find and delete that and it's all good. And this works fine, and it will work down the page, filling in and creating an entity for me until it gets to the bottom. And what I've got in my script here is a method called copy player. This is stuff I'm just working on as well, but this is the only thing that's actually called, and this is it here. This is the script that gets called. So we find our object called player, and we get some information about the docs. That's just historical, we could probably get rid of that. Get the page units, so I can get the page height. Get whether it's inches or whatever. Again, I don't really need that. I can get rid of that as well, potentially. I get the page width and height, and I get the margins for the top, inner, outer and bottom, and then I work out a new page point, which is basically page height minus the top and bottom, which basically gives us this height here of this blue section. And this is the bit that does all the duplication. So first of all, I duplicate my object, then I get the select object, which is a new object, and I get its name just because it has a name generated. So now I've got a reference to both the original and the copied object. I can get the size of that object, and then I move that object down by its height so that it appears underneath. And then I get its new position. Then I do this redraw and doc change, which I don't really need to do here, so I'll move that out. But here's where it gets interesting. If the y position of my new object plus the size of the height of my new object is greater than the page point, i.e. if the bottom of this object is like below this blue line, like this, then it says, okay, we need to create a new page. So we get the current page, and then we add a new page at the end, and then we work out what that new page is called. So then we copy the new object, and then we delete that object, and then we go to our new page, and then we paste the object. And the reason I do that is because if I copy the object and paste the object, when it gets pasted, it'll have a new name, which means I've got to then have another name to maintain. Whereas if I copy it, delete it, and then paste it, it will maintain the same name. So here's what it's effectively doing. So it's taking an object and it's saying, okay, I'm going to create a new page, so insert page, and then it's going to take that object, it's going to copy the object, copy, it's going to delete the object, delete, and it's going to go to new page, and then it's going to paste the object. So it should look like that, because that's what this code here is doing. It's moving it across. So I'll just delete that, and I'm just going to call this one. So I'll run this a few times and we can see what happens. I'm just going to get rid of this page. So I'm just going to press F9 and I get a copy. Great. Press it again, another copy, and again another copy, and again another copy, another copy, another copy. It's created a new page for me, which means it's determined that this copy should be on the other page, but it's still in its original position. If we look at the copy of this player, its X position is -79167 inches. If I set that to 0, just for funsies, and then set the Y position to 0, it's actually copied it into the page, but in the wrong location. Remember, I was expecting it to be about here, because that's where it should be. So that's why I think there might be a bug in the paste aspect of it. It seems to have kept its actual screen position. So when it copies it across, when it pastes it in the same screen position relative to the document. I don't know if that's a bug or whatever. I've resolved it by just whenever I paste it, then moving it, and I'll move it to the top. I can use the top margin as the Y offset, and the inner or outer, depending on the page number, as the X offset, and which it'll just snap it to the top left of the board there. And I've done that with this little line here. So I have a fix in my script that does this is it. So it just moves it to the outer and top. At the moment, my inner and outer are both the same, so it doesn't really matter what I use, but I will have to determine whether the new page is even or odd, and therefore use either the inner or outer accordingly. So let's just run that again, but with this code fix in. Let's delete that page, and this should be called player. So now if I run that code, I get copy, 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 and then another copy, and it appears at the top now. Okay, cheers, thanks a lot, bye.